Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about how can we respond to setbacks. A lot of people respond to setbacks incorrectly, which leads them to more setbacks in life. That is why I want to share in this video my experience with my setback this week, in order for you to not make the same mistake and for you to make sure that your setbacks would be in a positive way. This week was actually one of the biggest setbacks in my career as a blogger. The reason for that is actually my website went down for 4 hours straight. And believe me, if you're a blogger and your website is down for 4 hours straight, it's going to have a big impact on your site, especially on the eyes of search engines like Yahoo and Google. Basically, let me explain. My website is actually up 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's why even if I am asleep, you're able to see my website. How can my website be up for 24 hours if I'm sleeping, if my computer is turned off? That's where I'm paying someone or a hosting company to put my website in their computer so that my website will be on for 24 hours. What happened here is my hosting went down for 4 hours, which led my website to be off for a long time. The worst thing is, I don't even have a backup for my site, which means that if my hosting left me in the air that time, I'm going to lose everything I did for the past 3 years, which is so big. I actually can't sleep that night. It was one of the biggest setbacks I've experienced in my career as a blogger. So, I don't want this to happen again. So I actually made a 4-step guide for me and for you in order for us to respond in setbacks positively. Remember, positive. So step 1 is thinking of setbacks as a positive thing. The thing here is that if we think that setbacks are bad things and it's all bad thing, this leads us to stress. We are not really good at handling stress because stress makes us irrational. So if we are stressed out, we can't think well, we can't make right decisions, which leads to more setbacks. What we need to do is to think of setbacks as something positive. For example, you can learn something from this setback. Like what I'm teaching you right now is how you could respond to setbacks in order to solve your setbacks or to prevent this from happening again. Remember this, stress is one of the biggest enemies of setbacks. So if you want to be able to think rationally in times of setbacks, you need to try to calm down and remove the stress. Stress does nothing good to our decision. The next step is to actually analyze the setback. Remember that in our first step, we talk about clearing your mind, removing stress, because we need to think in order for us to respond positively to setbacks. And what we're going to do in analyzing setbacks is we're going to find the root cause of the problem and find of ways on how we will solve the problem. But make sure that if you find ways on how to solve the problem, it is something that you can do, not something others can do for you. Because what we can do is the only thing that we can actually control. That's the basic concept of stoicism. So step number 3 is actually to solve the setback or the problem. Here's the thing, most people fail to realize that setbacks can actually be solved. Not all setbacks, but some setbacks. For example, if you've lost your job, you can actually apologize to your boss and promise you're going to improve. I know that's going to hurt some of our ego, but there's a way for us to solve the setback first. And if we solve the setback, then no more problem. That's what we want. If you can actually solve the setback, why have the setback? So if you can do that, do it. But for me, in that setback in my life, I know that I can't solve that because I don't hold the hosting company. So I'll move to step 4. So the step 4 is to find ways in order for it never to happen again. So basically, if you did your step 2 correctly, you're going to find a way in order for you to make sure that the problem won't rise again. In here, in my example, I actually have 2 problems, 2 causes which I can solve. So one of which is having a backup, and number 2 is actually to change my hosting. I actually switched my hosting into a hosting site that was also affected by the downtime. But the difference is they have a backup server where if things went wrong, they have another computer to open in order for my site to go open again. So what happened is my first hosting went down for 4 hours, and this one only went down for a few minutes. So I'm sure that if it happened again in the future, my website will only be down for a few minutes instead of hours. So there you have it, a simple 4-step way in order for you to react positively on setbacks. Remember that in everything in life, we can actually learn things. That includes setbacks. If you think of setbacks as all negative, you won't be able to improve or you won't be able to learn something from it. Make sure to learn from setbacks and make sure it never happens again. I'll see you next time.